What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first visit. My name is Matt Samolsky. I'm Matt the Car Guy. On this channel I do car reviews. Thank you again to Ford of Port Richey in Florida for allowing me to film yet another one of their vehicles. And this right here is a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. But it's not just another Sport, it is the Badlands edition. So today I'm going to take you on the tour of this vehicle. We're going to check out the exterior, interior. We're going to jump inside and play with some cool and interesting features on the interior of this vehicle. Pop the engine and see what hides underneath the hood. And then we're going to take it for a spin. So if you're ready, let's go. Well, we're going to start right in front of this vehicle, but before we do that, you might be asking yourself, hey Matt, I thought you already did the Bronco Sport, and you would be correct, except the one that I did before was the Big Bend edition, which is towards the bottom of the barrel, let's put it this way, one of the base end models. This is the Badlands edition, which is one of the highest ones. So we'll see if some of the concerns that I had with the Big Bend edition were fixed on this one. Well, without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's take a look at the front of it. And the hood is the same as on the other one. It's actually a pretty cool design because it has those two bulges right on the side, and then it slopes down in the middle. It has this indentation kind of for the aerodynamics of the vehicle. The one thing that you might notice that is different is the roof. This is like that piano black roof. That's a typical for this Badlands edition. And then we'll go to the lights. So you see the lights, same as on the other one. It has this circle LED right on the side, and then it has this stripe that goes right inside of it. And then the turn signals on both sides, top and the bottom. I have them blinking so you can see them. And then the regular full LED light on the inside. So very nice light design. I also like the color combination because this is not just a regular, this boring flat matte gray. This one actually has a little bit of that grayish that's around with this cactus gray in here, and it's not flat. It's actually shiny. It's a nice design. Bronco spelled out. As you remember, I was talking about the other one. You will not find a Ford logo on this vehicle except in one place, and we're going to get to it. Everything else is Bronco. So you can see that Ford is trying to market their models or the specific brands. We've seen that with the Mustang Mach-E. We've seen it with the regular Mustang, even the keys. Now, I'll show you the key, and it's hard to miss. And honestly, you know, I walked in the house and my wife says, hey honey, are you excited to see me, or are you driving a Ford? Yes, that's a big key, but it does have Bronco right in the back of the key, so it doesn't have a Ford logo. And there's just a regular standard Ford key. Other than that, it looks exactly the same. But let's get back to the front of this vehicle. So again, we have a little of the breakup in color, again that cactus gray, and now this is the matte gray at the very bottom. Now you see some fog lights that are incorporated in here, and then you see some of the recovery hooks at the bottom of it. Now this one also seems like it's a little bit taller, and that's because it is. It actually has a little bit more ground clearance than the regular Bronco Sport that I reviewed before. And you know, as you can see, in here it does have a pretty darn good approach angle, so it can climb over the obstacles. Now I'm not sure what the capabilities of this vehicle would be off-road, and unfortunately I don't have any off-road parks nearby. Neither it is my car to do that with, but hopefully some of you already tested it, and maybe put it in the comment section below. I wouldn't even mind if you linked your videos to it to see how this thing performs in the off-road terrain. So let's get to the side of it, but before we do that, before we get to the side, let's pop the hood, because this is where the biggest difference is between this one and the Big Bend edition that I reviewed before. So let's check this out. Well guys, so let's get up close and personal with what powers up this thing. And well, first of all, I gotta ding it for having this prop stick instead of the hood struts, but that's one thing. Now, if you remember when I was reviewing the Bronco Sport, the Big Bend edition, that actually had the 3-cylinder engine, and it produced 181 horsepower. When I drove it, I didn't really feel like it was adequate, that I was powerful enough to power up that thing. Now this is a 2-liter engine. This is the EcoBoost 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 250 horsepower. That's 70 horsepower more than on the 1.5-liter engine. 277 pound-feet of torque. That is about 87, almost 90 more pound-feet of torque than the other one. So this one should be a lot more fun to drive. We'll find out. As far as the transmission, it's an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now this one has the select shift with pedal shifters. The other one didn't have it. So we'll see how that works as well. Well, so the side profile, I actually like the side profile a lot. I mean, especially maybe even with this color combination. To be honest with you, I wasn't crazy about this cactus gray, but now that I look at it, it really fits in. Kind of, if the car had a personality, that would be it. I mean, it's this ruggedness of it, and it fits in with this matte gray trim, the cladding that's around the wheels right here on the fender treatment, as well as the bottom here at the bottom of the window sills. Now this looks like a running boards or maybe a side skid plates, or but nothing like this. This is just a design element. The doors itself, it's pretty simple. I mean, it has this one indentation inside of here that adds to the design of this vehicle, and it does have this trim over here as well. Again, nothing crazy, but overall, if you look at this, I mean, I like, first of all, the two-tone design, that black roof with this color of the vehicle, and I also like that these are not color coordinated. Again, if you want to have more polished vehicle that is for a street or city driving or stuff like this, you can go with like Ford Escape, which is basically what this is, except in the more rugged version of it, and nicer in my opinion. Now this looks like almost like a mini Land Rover. If you remember the old Discoveries, they had this roof line just kind of like this, or even the LR2s, they were the small Land Rovers. This reminds me very much, and I like that design. I like the square design of the off-road vehicles. This is a Badlands edition, so it does have a special badge, Badlands. What that means that it does have a little bit different suspension. It sits a little bit higher. It does have more features than the Big Bend that I reviewed earlier. Well, as far as the back of it, you know, one more thing to pay attention to, because I really like the design of those rims. And excuse me now, but it's missing those little pretty cool Bronco center caps. For some reason they didn't put them on, but they are, so the wheel is not complete without them. But really nice design. These are 17-inch wheels with some rubber on it. These are 225, 65, 17, so that's the size of the tire. Now I like this size in particular because the higher you get, the lower the rubber is going to be, the rugged, the more rougher the ride will be as well. And for the off-road vehicle, you need some meat off the tires. Not that you're going to take it on real off-roading, hopefully, but if you did get to the campsite and you needed to go through some gravel road or maybe some obstacles, you can certainly do that with this car. Well, the back of it is very simple. I mean, it's square as it is, pretty much straight down. It does have this nice LED brake light in the back, shark fin antenna. There's another piece of antenna that screws into here for better reception. Also, it has Bronco Sport, so as you can see, again, branding of the Bronco, not the Ford. Now, and this is where the only Ford badge is on the vehicle right here. It's right in here. It's not on the key, it's not on the steering wheel, it's not on this side of the car. The cool part about this, that it opens up either the top portion or the entire gate right here. It does have a rear view camera that's installed in here, so hopefully that's not going to be in the way, that's not going to be affected by the elements, but it's kind of exposed if you ask me. But if you look at this, first of all, it's clearly marked. It says glass right here, it says door on the other side, so you know which ones you're pressing. So if you want to open up the glass only, if you're parked close to some other vehicle and you want to actually just throw something in here and be done with it, that's what you do. If you want to open up the entire gate, okay, it's not power, it's a manual gate, but it's not heavy and opens up nice and tall. I can easily stand underneath here. I'm 6 feet tall and I can fit in here. As far as the back bumper, it's the matte gray. You know, it's not color coordinated. Again, it adds to that ruggedness of the vehicle. Lights, we've seen that on the other Bronco as well. It does have some LED lights, and then it looks like some of the incandescent lights, the turn signals, are just the regular incandescent bulbs. So, I mean, nothing too crazy. Oh, and this one is equipped with a tow hitch. Now, you can only tow up to like 2,000 pounds with this vehicle, so it's not really a power horse as far as for towing. So if it's a small boat or a small trailer, you can get away with it. Anything bigger, you probably need a bigger engine vehicle. So what else is interesting about here? If you look at the bottom of here, you will not find any of the exhaust. Actually, there are, but they're hidden underneath here. They're sticking out a little bit, and that's basically for the maximum ground clearance for the approach and departure. Departure angle would be right here, so you're not gonna lose them when you're driving. And let's get close up in here and let's see what else is here. Well, so let's check it out, and we've seen a couple of those features already, but I still want to point out, in case you didn't watch it or you don't want to watch my other videos, but this is actually a bottle opener. So if you're tailgating, you can stick your bottle right here, click, open, done. What else is in here? You can see a couple of the cargo hooks, and these basically allow you to put on like the grocery bags and stuff like this. And you have the regular 12 volt, as well as you have your regular 110 volt outlet in the back in here. What's interesting in here, you have a little bit of an LED light, and look at this little Bronco logo in between here. But that lights up this area in here, and actually there's a little bit of a light switch that turns on the lights on the gate. See, this is like almost the airplane lights. See, I can turn them off and on using that switch. And also a pretty cool feature right in here, if you didn't know what you're driving, see, this little Bronco hides underneath the wiper in here. Pretty cool grab handles, okay, solid. And these lights, they're on both sides. They're actually, you can move them like this and highlight a certain area underneath here. The seats, they fold down. Now you do have to reach out to fold them down like this, and I don't have my front seat pushed all the way forward, so they kind of hold on this, but it's a 60-40 split. I'm gonna do that to show you how much room there is with the seats folded down. But before we do that, one of the big things where a lot of people are asking me, says, hey, why manufacturers don't put the spare tires on anymore? And this one does, and I gotta tell you, this is actually the same exact tire as on the vehicle right now, the Pirelli Scorpion 225/65/17, except it's just a base metal rim on here, not aluminum, not the fancy one. And for the off-road vehicle, it's important to have a full-size spare tire, because if you have a flat tire off the road somewhere in off the beaten track, you're really not going to be able to use that fix-a-flat, or you know, you're not going to be able to use that temporary tire. You actually need the full-size tire in here. Let's see if we can drop these. Again, they hold on to the seats, but you have an idea of how much room there is, and it's pretty tall. And as you can see, I mean, it has a little bit more headroom for the front, then it dips down, and then it raises back up all the way in the end. So let's jump inside the second row seat, see how much room there is. Well, let's check out how much room I have once I get in this car. You know, it's a little bit narrow getting the feet through here, but once you get in, I have plenty of headroom. I have probably about this much of a headroom, which is about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches above my head, and I'm 6 feet tall, so plenty of room even for someone who's taller. The one thing that if someone's taller and there's a taller person driving in front of you, it's probably going to be a little bit tough on your knees. Now, I'm not touching, I have about an inch, but that's about it. If somebody is as tall as me and driving, that would probably be a little bit of an issue if I was tall. As of right now, it's good. It does have a pretty interesting interior, so let me show this to you. Let's start with the door panel right here. Quite a bit of hard plastic, unfortunately, but different textures kind of make up for it. So you have a hard plastic here, you have a little bit of a trim that's the same color as the exterior of the vehicle, another hard plastic right here, and the only thing that's soft on this is your armrest, which actually makes sense. That's soft here. What's interesting here, let's check it out. There is no carpet at the bottom, which is nice. It kind of reminds me like the old Honda Elements, that you can basically just wipe it off and be done with it. Don't worry about mud or snow or anything dragging inside of here. Also, the back of the seat, we're gonna start with the back, then we'll move to the front, but the back of the seat, it's almost like made out of this neoprene, like this diving material that's waterproof, which looks very sturdy, to be honest with you. It does have a little bit of a seat pocket that's actually zippable, and you can put maybe an iPad or iPhone or just a regular phone if you don't have an iPhone in here, and then you have your regular air vents in the back, and if you want to plug in that phone or computer that you brought in, you have the regular 110 volt outlet. As far as the seats, okay, so it looks like 3 people can fit in here. The third person is going to have a little bit of bump because all of these are all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. Now, this opens up, so you have a little bit of armrest as well as a cup holders. And if you have to have a third person in here, you can fit them in, but they won't be as comfortable as the people on both sides. Sturdy material, it looks very durable. It's actually pretty comfortable when I was sitting in here. All right, let's hear how this is gonna sound when it's closing. It's not bad, it's pretty solid. And we're gonna get inside of here in just a second. I want to show you this cool animation that shows up when you walk into this vehicle. But the front door, the same as the back door, lots of hard plastic. I mean, you have this little bit of a cushion in here, and then your window controls, mirror controls, your speaker, and then you do have a little bit of storage underneath here. Now, again, Bronco, apologize for the dirt in here, but Bronco is right on the door seal. This seat is electronically controlled, and it's the same fabric as the back ones, but this one, look at this one has Bronco on it. So again, nothing but Bronco all over the car, and that includes the steering wheel, which we're going to take a look next. Well, let's take a look at the interior of this 2021 Bronco Badlands edition. And, you know, as I said before, there's no Fords on here. Even the steering wheel has got this nice Bronco logo in here. It's a multi-function steering wheel. It's actually pretty cool to the touch, nothing crazy about it. I mean, you have your cruise control and adaptive cruise control settings on the left hand side, as well as your volume control and the mute button. On the right hand side, you have a little bit of controls, and we're going to get inside of the instrument cluster just in a second, but that basically what controls this. You have some menu items, but you also have can pick up or hang up the phone and use your voice control for some of the features on this vehicle. So let's take a look at this instrument cluster. I want to open the door and see what happens in here, because that's pretty cool. Okay, start the vehicle to stop alarm. So let's start it and let's see what happens. Look at this, it's playing some animation on both screens. Okay, and you know, it says caution, do not touch display during installation, this film to remove before usage. I'm not the owner of this vehicle, and I would like, if I was buying it new, I'd like this to be on, so I'm going to respect that and leave it on. It's not going to affect the usage of the screen. It's just basically a little bit of the film on top of it. So let's take a look at this. First of all, it does have a bigger screen in between the instrument cluster right here. So you have the regular actually tachometer on the left hand side, speedometer on the right hand side, and then you have this 6-inch display in between. The other one had 4-inch display, so it was a little bit smaller. Now you have at the bottom, you have your gear indicator, and here is where you can change some of the different settings. So you have a menu, you can select different screens, okay, and then you can go calm screen, or you can have fuel economy, trip 1, trip 2. So that basically what's going to display while you're driving, and that's right inside of here. Go back to the menu and let's see, you have the audio settings, phone, and settings for oil life. That's your settings right here. 100% oil life, that's good, and that's basically it. That's what you can control in here. So it's not a lot of customization, but you have a little bit in here. Now this is the Sync 3 system, and Sync 4 is out now, so maybe they're going to upgrade it for next year, but this one is actually pretty cool. You've seen the animation that was playing. Not too many features in here. You have audio, phone, apps, and settings. As far as apps, we can add a device, and it's basically compatible with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And as far as settings, you have sound clock, Bluetooth phone, driver assistance, vehicle settings. Let's see what's in here. It does have a little bit of lag as far as when I touch it. You see that? Driver's assistance. Okay, so it does take a little bit of time for it to show up. That probably could be fixed with a little bit of a software update. We've seen that on the Kia, where they had it in the first K5s, and then all of a sudden it's boom, it's fixed it. But a lot of safety features: lane keep assist, pre-collision assist, rear view camera. Let's see what the settings are. So basically a rear view camera delay, not sure what that is, but that could be a feature of the rear view camera. Back to home. Now this one does not have navigation, but like I said, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatible, so you can set this up yourself. And actually, you know, as far as the radio, this one it's got the standard radio, but they are available with this Bang & Olufsen stereo, which is crazy. I mean, this sounds good. The other one would sound amazing probably. You know, you have your regular vents right here, and then what I like about this too is you have these knobs that are kind of rugged. So we've seen that on some of the Jeeps, right? You've seen that some of the Rams too, the rugged knobs, but they feel good to the touch. So is this one. So they did a nice job designing this one. So first of all, you can turn off this auto engine stop, auto start stop, which sometimes could be annoying, and you know, if I had the choice, I'd turn it off all the time. Now, let's take a look at the camera and let's see what's in here. Now if I don't have it in reverse, it will just show me the camera, it won't show me the displays. Now I put that in reverse, and as you can see, the trajectory lines are on and they're moving with the camera, so it's a nice setup. So don't be discouraged if you press this button. This is just basically to check what's in the back without putting it in reverse. Now everything else is radio controls, and you can turn off the screen. So basically turns off the infotainment system, it leaves the date and time on here. Nice little shelf, you can put your cell phone in here if you'd like to. Right here, it even fits the big cell phone. And then the magic button, engine start stop button, is right here. And then again, these same type of rugged dials for the fan control and temperature control on the other side. This one does have a heated seats. It's 3-stage heated seats, so you can turn them off and on. And this is basically your shortcuts for the heating and air conditioning in here. Now you do have, again, this is all rubber inside of here, so when you put something in here, okay, it's not going to bounce around, it's not going to fly around, it's going to stay in place. You have the USB-C and the USB port right there. You have a 12-volt outlet, and this one does have, or it doesn't have, it doesn't show me anywhere whether it has a phone charger, wireless charger. So it could be that this one is not equipped with it. The gear shifter right here, it's a dial shifter, so basically different modes in here, and then you can push it in the manual mode. And once you put it in the manual mode, you can actually use the pedal shifters on the steering wheel in the manual mode. Your electronic parking brake, cup holders, brake oil animation. This is normal. Okay, we turned off the trail control off. That's fine. Eco, sport, ooh, fast. Slippery, that's if it's a little icy. Mud ruts, sand, and rock crawl. I'm not sure how much those different modes change the settings on the car, and unfortunately I wish I could get this vehicle and spend a week in the wild with it just to kind of check it out of what it is. The one thing that I noticed, that if you put it in the certain modes, like if we put it, let's say, in the mud ruts, or if we put it in the rock crawl mode, it turns on front camera. It's not the rear camera, it's a front camera. So it's got a 180 degrees camera in here. And you can see, you know, this is actually the front of the vehicle. And this is important, especially for off-roading. So you don't, you know, I mean, I guess you can argue that you should be experienced to go off-road, but also if you find yourself in the situations where you're not too sure about where the vehicle ends, you can turn this on so you can see whether you're going to have enough clearance to go in between some items or not. So this is actually a pretty helpful feature in my opinion. But we're going to stick to the normal mode. As far as the rest of the interior, now they are available with the sunroof. This one doesn't have it. It's an optional equipment that you know, this one is not equipped with. Sunglasses holder, a little bit of the LED lights in here, and it does have just a regular mirror. As far as the design inside, I mean, it kind of complements the design of the outside. It does have different textures. I like this. This one feels softer. Again, different textures, you know, as far as the quality of the interior. It's pretty good. It's not, doesn't feel very plasticky, although it does have some hard plastic, but it looks rugged. It looks like it's capable. It looks durable too, which is the most important thing. It's maybe not the most luxurious one. I know they come in like the leather trim seat, so you can add some of that, but I believe everything in here is going to stay the same, and definitely not bad. Not bad at all. So if you're ready to take it for a spin, let's go. Well guys, let's take this for a spin, but before we do that, let's go through some pricing, basic pricing information. So there's really 4 models that are available in this Ford Bronco. Actually 5. The first one is the first edition, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. So the base one is a 26,820. That's the base MSRP. And then the big bend that I tested before, the base MSRP was 28,320. The Outer Banks, which is the higher trim level, is 32,320, and that's more of a luxury higher trim. Now if you want the rugged higher trim, this is it. This is the Badlands edition. And then the first edition, which got basically everything, is at 38,500. So this one, as equipped, is at 34,700, so it's under $35,000. And you might say, well, you know, it's not, you know, it's not a lot for a vehicle, but you know, it competes with the same category, let's say, as RAV4 or CRV. Those are probably 2 of the most well-known vehicles. And if you look at their higher trims, and I was shocked to see that the RAV4, I think, exceeded $40,000 on their top trim right now. So the SUVs are getting very expensive right now. And this one's definitely in range with basically its competition. Now, this one doesn't have a few other options that I would probably like to have. Being spoiled, I'd probably like to have a sunroof. I'm still kind of not sure about the leather on the off-roader. I think those seats are good enough, but even though I do have Android Auto and I use it all the time, I probably would like to have like the pre-installed navigation system. And that's about it. That's what I would want on the car like this. Well, let's see, first of all, let's see the rear view camera in action. We've seen it a little bit, but you can see, okay, when you put that on, I know that this is a little bit in the way, but we're gonna go and work around it. You can see a little bit of blockage in here, but not bad in comparing to some other vehicles. And you can actually zoom in or zoom out. Let's see what the other ones are. Narrow angle and wide angle camera. So nice camera system. I mean, definitely going to help you as far as you know, being off-road or on the road for that matter. Let's see how it turns. Now, the one thing that I got to tell you that I like about this car, because it has those two bulges on the hood and it feels a lot bigger than it is. Of course, I can't wait to see the real Bronco, the big Bronco, when it comes up, and I guess it comes out in a few months in July. But we'll, you know, let's concentrate on this and see how it turns. So I'm in parking lot as I usually am in the park, turning the wheel all the way to the left and see how many parking spaces it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it does turn pretty much on the dime. It's a very nice and tight turning radius. Now let's see something else. Since we have this big open parking lot, basically all to myself in here, the exception of the couple cars parked at the end, let me check the acceleration in here. Now, okay, so let's see, you know, I didn't go crazy with it, but it can definitely move better than the 1.5 liter, the 3-cylinder engine. However, you could hear probably, or maybe not, a little bit of that turbo lag in this vehicle. Now again, this wouldn't be very concerning. Let's hit it again. Actually, it moves pretty well. It's a little bit different engine sound. It does sound a little maybe like a, I don't know, little metallic-y, if you will, but you know, it's not bad. It definitely feels a lot more powerful than the one I test driven before. Definitely feels better on the road, and my complaint of the other one being too slow is out the window. This one's definitely got enough guts to get up and going, so no complaints here. The overall feel of this vehicle, you can feel that it's more of an off-road vehicle, so it's going to be a little bit of a rugged ride. It's not bad. Let's say compare that to a Jeep Wrangler, which is a typical off-roader. This one is smoother on the road. That, of course, doesn't have as good of capabilities off the road, but you know, it's not designed for that either. And overall feel of this vehicle, now it's in 4x4, so you can right away feel like all wheels are grabbing, which is a good thing. And I really have no complaints about this. A few features that I would add if I was designing it myself, but other than that, I mean, this is a very solid entry-level off-road vehicle. I'll definitely give this vehicle a big thumbs up. I mean, it's definitely better than the Big Bend edition that I tested before, and I think this would be my choice of trim if I were looking for one. Certainly check it out if you're in the market for a vehicle that's the size of a CR-V, but you might be tempted to take it off the beaten path once in a while. This one definitely be more capable and a lot more fun. Plus, it's got some of the cool options like the bottle opener, for example, and you know, a little bit of the rugged look that some of the people are looking for, especially if you're camping. You know, that rubber floor is definitely a big advantage because you really can just wipe it off after you're done with it. I wouldn't hose it off. There's still some electronics underneath it, but you know, wipe it off with the wet rag and be done with it. So if you like this type of vehicles, definitely check that out. Don't be shy. If you like this type of videos, check out the rest of my channel. If you haven't subscribed already, I really appreciate help me get to that 10,000 subscribe mark, which I'm a long way from it, but I'm hoping to get there by the end of the year. And hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers.